Hi, how's it going? This is Jewel T. Sains. And listen, if you're a subscriber to this channel, you know when I give my real name, I'm coming on here to talk about a serious subject. And I'm coming on here to talk about, you know, you got all these shootings that have occurred in the United States over months, years, feels like a lifetime. Look, I know there's an amendment. I know there's a Second Amendment that gives people the right to bear arms. I do not want people to lose their guns. Okay, if you look, you have the right to bear arms, yes, but that Second Amendment doesn't give you the right to go out and commit cold-blooded murder. All right, that amendment doesn't state to go out and freely shoot somebody. That amendment doesn't give you the right to go out and shoot somebody to commit that cold-blooded murder. All right, and I hear, I know a lot. This is so aggravating. I know some really responsible gun owners, but at the end of the day, it just seems like there's not enough of responsible gun owners because what you have is a lack of responsibility and a lack of accountability. You have a lack of responsibility when the gun is being taken out the home, either by the gun owner themselves or somebody living with the gun owner, and it's getting used. It's getting used on innocent people. It's getting used to commit murder. And listen, if that happens, to me, in my opinion, what needs to happen is if someone's going to take a gun and go out and commit cold-blooded murder, they are committing an act of terror. And they need, to me, in my opinion, need to be labeled a terrorist because they're committing an act of terror and they need to be prosecuted with the full extent of the law. Again, that Second Amendment does not give you the right to go out and commit cold-blooded murder. Listen, the Second Amendment was issued during the Civil War, okay? The Second Amendment was issued because you had soldiers coming on people's lands shooting at them. Where do we have soldiers coming on our land shooting at us? We have civilians coming into stores killing other civilians. That's not the same thing. Okay, that's not even remotely close. You have people who are armed coming into stores shooting innocent unarmed people. Again, that's not the same thing. To me, what there needs to be is better testing for guns. And what I mean is there needs to be a written exam, there needs to be a psychological exam along with the physical exam. Written, physical, where you shoot at a firing range, and 3, a psychological exam, and you have to pass all 3, and it needs to be implemented in all 50 states. And people are going to say, well, that kind of testing is expensive. Yes, it is. But it costs way more to bury somebody. It costs way more to even make funeral arrangements, let alone bury somebody and put them in the ground, or whether you have them cremated, than to make sure there's proper testing for something. There's testing to own a car. There's testing to drive a car. There needs to be proper testing to own a gun. Well, yes, there is a Second Amendment that says you have the right to bear arms. You also need to know that with the kind of power you're being handed, and that's what this is, you need to have a better responsibility. You need to have a better responsibility as a gun owner. You need to have owning a gun should be a privilege to you. People say here's the thing, gun owners say they take pride in owning their gun. Okay, you can take that pride in owning your gun, then take pride in making sure it doesn't get into the wrong hands. Take the pride and make sure it doesn't get used for a reason other than hunting an animal. Because when it gets used to murder innocent people, that is wrong. I don't give a shit what that Second Amendment says, and you can get pissed at that all you want. You can get mad at me, you can MF me, you can curse me. It's like this. Innocent people should not be getting killed or afraid to go into the store. It's like Elijah Wood said, we do not need to become numb to this. And it's become, shootings have become so routine, and what really gets me, what I don't understand, you have the President of the United States who keeps addressing, safety. He says about our borders are secure, our borders are secure. Well, when are we going to be secure from one another? A president is supposed to handle foreign and domestic problems, and he hasn't handled domestic worth shit. And you can get pissed at that all you want to, because he hasn't. He has not addressed this issue. He is not addressing these issues when it comes to a shooting. And that's a problem for me. And it's like I said, I have just offered a solution. Because to me, if you're going to implement somebody who, let's say they do this, maybe somebody will think twice about picking up a gun and going and using it on a human being. Because if they know they're going to get prosecuted as a terrorist, trust me, you do not want to be labeled a terrorist. Not in this country. You do not want to be prosecuted as a terrorist. So, to me, there needs to be something. Something has to give. This is just unacceptable. And really, what I don't understand is, listen, I do get people own guns, and people, like I said, people like owning guns, and that's fine. I don't own one. But if you do, I don't want to take anyone's gun away from them. That's all I keep hearing when it comes to this. Oh, you don't take my gun away from me. Oh, there's a Second Amendment. Okay. Let me counter with this, and then don't take your gun out to go shoot an innocent person. Make sure your gun doesn't get taken out to shoot an innocent person. Show some goddamn fucking responsibility with your gun, because right now what I see is a lack of responsibility. No matter what that amendment says. Well, you have the right to bear arms? Well, why don't you have the right to grow some responsibility and common fucking sense? Because that Second Amendment, right now, all I see is blood red. All I see is people getting murdered over that goddamn amendment. More people have been murdered over that amendment. And I get it. There's a right to bear arms. I'm not here to debate the amendment. I'm just saying it is time to look at that amendment and go, okay, we can't change it, but we do need to do something to try to prevent this from happening every time it happens, because it is out of control. It really is, guys. It's out of control. I want to thank you. You can leave a comment, but if you be rude or disrespectful, if you threaten me, I'll report you. Um, and that's just it. Listen, again, better responsibility. Better responsibility needs to be taken by these gun owners and making sure their guns are somewhere someone with mental illness can't get them, and someone who shouldn't be using a gun can get them. And if the gun owners themselves are going to take them out and go commit cold-blooded murder, like I said, put them they are committing an act of terror, period. All right, guys.